Hey everybody, it's your old buddy Uncle Rich for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, this is show number 227. Today's date is July 30th, 2018, and the name of the show is Jones'n Out. Now, guys, I'm sure there's some people haven't heard the expression Jones'n Out. But the best way to think about it is think about somebody running to leave a building when they want to have a cigarette. They're jonesing for a cigarette. Or think about somebody that might be jonesing for a cup of coffee. Or, most people think of it like, somebody that has an alcohol addiction. They're jonesing for a drink. They're shaking until they get a drink. But guys, most people that watch Alex Jones, who are Alex Jones fans, are going to be jonesing out because Alex Jones got outed. That's right. He got outed from Facebook and from YouTube. That's right, guys. They banned him 30 days on Facebook, and I believe it was 3 months on YouTube. And we're going to get into this tonight because, they're going to try to give us the old double reverse with the free speech rigmarole. But guys, we're not going to fall for it. But, just a little while ago, we did another show. Actually, we've done a couple of shows on Alex Jones. And guys, just to show you, I'm not kidding. If we go back to show number 157, we called it Info Wars. And then show number 214, we called it Info Whores. And guys, so tonight we're calling it Jones'n Out because he's been outed. And guys, because why? Because they do everything ass backwards, show 203. And guys, we have an awful lot of fun. But you know what? Our show's starting to have an impact. And people must be listening to Uncle Rich because things are starting to happen. So Judy, let's play clip number 00 and people will get an idea what I'm talking about. 00, please. Well, that's what we want to do with clowns like Alex Jones. Bankrupt them. Get them off the air. If you're going to preach this nonsense and if you're going to try to trick the simple folk like Uncle Joey, if you're going to try to trick the simple folk like Uncle Joe. Uncle Joey! I hope we're on Facebook. Judy, can we get our phone number up there so that if people are watching on Facebook, they can call us down here in Danbury. And guys, we're doing the show from Danbury. But we're going to do a lot of different things on this show. And there's a certain somebody that's been telling people not to believe what they see. Guys, I can't make this up. Not to believe what they see and not to believe what they say, what they read. He wants you to think that it's not happening. And who could this possibly be? Judy, clip number 01, please.
Just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
What you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. It's a false universe, right? Judy, just to prove my point a little bit more, let's have the Beetlejuice version of the same clip. Clip number 02, Judy.
Just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
That's it. Beetlejuice. I'm free. Guys, now we can go into an alternate universe and we can go into the land of make-believe. And where's the land of make-believe? Well, usually it's on Fox News. So, Judy, let's prove my point with clip number 03, please.
The man is an honest, honorable lawyer.
Honest, honorable lawyer, but now you say Cohen is, quote, your words, a pathological liar,
Right.
Pathological lawyer, a Freudian slip, a pathological liar who's been lying for years. So what happened?
So what happened? What happened? He went to work for Trump. That's what happened. And now he's become a pathological liar. Guys, I'm telling you, I watched today. And I watched Giuliani. He was on Fox News first. Then he went to CNN. And eventually he went back to Fox News. But people were looking at him like, they didn't know whether to hug him or shake him. I mean, wait a minute, Mr. Giuliani. I mean, everybody was like, they're going, and I'm trying to do the show, and I'm saying, man, I mean, I'm really not paying attention, and I'm confused. I'm saying, what about people who aren't paying attention? But guys, the next clip. So let's see. This is what happens, and guys, we're going to play this just for the last time, but just to identify where we got the source from. So Judy, clip number 4, please.
And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. And I'll tell you, I have so many people that are so in favor, because we have to make our country truly great again. Remember?
Donald, if you want to make the country Trump-proof, that's what we should do. Start telling the truth. That's all. I mean, it's beyond him. It's just beyond him to tell the truth. And guys, the next clip, let's see. I'm a little confused here today, but the next clip is also going to be a short one. And I believe this is, let's see. This is going to be going back. Now, guys, believe it or not, this is going back to April 23rd when we did this show. And what I called for was to bankrupt Alex Jones. I mean, and we're going to play it so that you can hear it. And guys, I'm going to take credit for it. I'm going to say that somebody watched the show and somebody made things happen. And somebody said, he got in touch with Facebook or YouTube and said, listen, this guy's violating the community standards. And that's what's happened. There's copyright standards and there's community standards. When you tell somebody to shoot somebody in the cabinet, and especially when he works for the FBI, and that's Robert Mueller, yeah, Alex Jones said to shoot him. Guys, you're not going to believe this. And this is why this nonsense has to stop. But first we're going to play the clip with me saying that we have to bankrupt these people, the way to do it, how to go about it, and the reason why we should do it. And guys, once again, we're coming to you from Danbury, Connecticut. And remember, Sandy Hook is only 2 exits down 684. So Judy, let's have clip number 5, please. Hey, everybody. It's Little Loud, Cuddy. Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, this is show 214. Today's date is April 23rd, 2018. And the name of the show is Info Whores. I know. Some people are going to go, wait a minute. That's a little rough. But guys, I'm sure you're familiar with the term Info Wars from Alex Jones. And I tell you, Alex Jones is a whore. He's just like the Foxstitutes that we see on Fox TV and the conservative media. And I really wanted to do the show on income inequality, and we're going to get to it. But first, we're going to make sure that the equality of Alex Jones' income goes down to zip. And guys, I hope, because of the nonsense, now you got to remember, we're coming to you from Danbury, Connecticut. We're a stone's throw from Sandy Hook, Connecticut. And Alex Jones thinks that the 20 kids and the 6 teachers that got slaughtered he claimed it was a hoax. Well, that crap don't float in my toilet, and I'm sure it's same thing with you guys. And tonight we're going to go out of our way to expose Alex Jones for the fruitcake and the fraud that he really is. We're going to embarrass him and make him look stupid. And guys, it's not going to just be me. We're going to start off with Megyn Kelly. She did an interview. And I tell you, we're going to have a clip from a woman that is so full of hate. She's been so fired up by InfoWars that she actually wants to kill the parents of the kids. Oh, guys, it's sick. It's really sick. Then we're going to show you about, Chiboni. Jones had a beef with Chiboni, the yogurt place. The Muslims and the aliens were working there. And then he started this stuff with the Pizzagate. And guys, it just goes on. And tonight, we're going to stop it. And hopefully, this guy, the same thing will happen to Alex Jones as what happened to Gawker when Hulk Hogan went after Gawker. And he sued them, and he ended up bankrupting them. Well, that's what we want to do with clowns like Alex Jones. Bankrupt them. Get them off the air. If you're going to preach this nonsense, and if you're going to try to trick the simple folk like Uncle Joey and all his buddies and pals, people, I got to say, but guys, we're going to have some fun going after the pocketbook because that's the only way we can stop this. If we take away the money from them, take away the reason for them to profit for preaching this nonsense, they can't do it anymore. So let's start with our first clip, and this is with Megyn Kelly. And guys, just listen how sincere she is and how she really, and so guys, somebody must have heard Uncle Rich and they must have said, hey, we got to do something to stop this clown. And I'll take full credit for it. Uncle Joey, Ken Johnson, I'm taking credit for it because you saw what happened. Well, you're going to see what happened because the next clip is going to show you why and how he got knocked off. And then we're going to get to the real serious stuff. So, Judy, clip number 6, please.
Conspiracy theorist and founder of InfoWars, Alex Jones has gotten another reprimanding strike from YouTube. The company took down several videos by Jones that had hate speech against Muslims and transgender people. One video also had something referencing a moment of child endangerment. The strike, which expires in 3 months, will keep Jones from live streaming on the platform. A second strike from the company will ban Jones from uploading content for 2 weeks. If he gets a third strike within 90 days of the second, Jones's entire YouTube account will be deleted. The video sharing platform shared that their policies do not tolerate child endangerment or hate speech. YouTube said this applies regardless of who is the speaker or owner of the channel. Social media sites have come under increasing criticism for failing to crack down on fake news and inflammatory content. Many of the sites have pledged to do more, but none have gone so far as to ban Jones from their sites. A recent Jones video showed him threatening to shoot special counsel Robert Mueller. YouTube took the video down, but it remains on Facebook as the company claims it doesn't violate its rules. Freedom of speech and economic incentives may be part of the reason the sites are often slow to remove the content, if at all.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that this is what these people call for. This is what this guy calls for, and he gets away with it. I mean, I'm in shock. But you know what? Rather than be in shock, I'll just play the next video for you, and you can be in shock. So, Judy, number 7, please.
They'd let Mueller rape kids in front of people, which he did. I mean, Mueller covered up for a decade for Epstein, kidnapping kids, flying them on sex planes. Some kids as young as 7 years old, reportedly, with big perverts raping them. To frame people. I mean, Mueller is a monster, man. God, imagine. Man. He's even above the pedophiles, though. The word is he doesn't have sex with the kids. He just controls it all. Can you imagine being a monster like that? God, people say, well, God, aren't you scared of him? I'm scared of not manning up.
Not manning up. You believe this?
I'm constantly in fear that I'm not being a real man and I'm not doing what it takes.
How do you be a real man, Alex?
And so call it whatever you want.
How do you
I look at that guy, he's a sack of crap. That's a demon I will take down or I'll die trying. So that's it.
Trying.
It's going to happen. We're going to walk out in the square politically at high noon, and he's going to find out when he makes a move, man. Make the move first, and then it's going to happen. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's the real world. Politically. You're going to get it, or I'm going to die trying. Get ready. We're going to bang heads.
It's not a joke. It's not a game. How many boneheads do you have to say that to before one of them goes over the edge and does something? How long is it going to take? This guy should have been taken off the air a long time ago. And when it comes time for his renewal, we should all stand up and say, hey, we don't need him. Guys, you're not going to believe this. He's got 2.4 million subscribers. 2.4 million subscribers. Tune into this knucklehead and watch him. Well, he's been on for a long time, but hey, guys, that's sizable. And you know what? We're going to be nice, and we're going to let Jones try to defend himself. And you're going to hear it from the horse's mouth, and you're going to hear a new term. And guys, I'm not going to mention the term, but I want you to listen. And you're going to start to hear something repeated over and over again. And it's got, you watch. It won't be long before tonight on Fox News, tomorrow, Fox and Friends will be using this term. So, Judy, let's have clip number 8, please.
We are only on Periscope on Twitter right now. We've been banned off Facebook and YouTube live streaming, and I'm sure it'll be
for you, Alex.
Periscope the next few days. And that's because the establishment is making its move against free speech here in America. They've already done it in communist China. They've already done it in Europe. They admit they're now doing it here. Now, why is this the most banned information in the world? If you type in Alex Jones into Google or Bing today, there are over 10,000 articles in the last couple days lying about what I've said and what I've done, and then never showing you in the articles what I said or what I did. That is 101 violation of journalism, because these aren't journalists. These are killers of free speech. These are corporate mercenaries. Making their move ahead of the 2018 midterms. What is the radical information that we're covering here? What is it? It's that the Chinese communists and big banks, along with Hollywood, took the U.S. over, and we're running it into the ground by design. And then the dark horse candidate, Donald Trump, got elected and began to reverse it in the last year and a half. And they're now panicking because prosperity's coming back in. And so they have engaged in a massive shadow ban, a blocking of Christians, libertarians, conservatives, nationalists, the president in the last year and a half. They've dialed the president back over 90%. There's major analytic sites that track it where people subscribe to his Twitter, they don't get the information. But now they're pushing it up to 97% against myself, Paul Watson, and others at newswars.com and infowars.com. And The other so-called conservatives thought, well, that's just them being censored. It's not us. Now they're all being censored. Members of Congress are being blocked. They're not able to even have their speeches on C-SPAN on Facebook or Twitter. There is a massive assault going on against the First Amendment ahead of the midterms, and the media is trying to set the precedent, lying about InfoWars, misrepresenting what we've done, never showing you what we supposedly said, to shut us down, to set the precedent against everyone. So the most censored thing in the world isn't devil worship or pornography or people being tortured or Islamicists being brought in to do all this stuff. No, it's me pointing out and raising the alarm as a modern Paul Revere that this draconian censorship and control is here. Go see the videos that they've taken us off Facebook and YouTube for. Go see them. They say I beat up a kid. I showed ABC News footage of some punk kid attacking an adult. The guy pushes him down. It's all over the news. I covered it.
You covered it, yeah. I
can
show
my
how you, like
Islamophobia, which is some
right?
leftist college term that's anti-free speech, where I show Islamists pouring across the border in Europe. Go see the videos they don't want you to see. They want to lie to you about those videos.
They want to lie
misrepresent, and then set the precedent to shut it all down. This is happening right now because they know America is waking up. They know the world is waking up.
How could America be waking up?
They know you're waking up. And they've been censoring, and they've been controlling, and they've been bullying, and they weren't even looking for you to stop posting. They were looking for you to join them in a Pavlovian carrot versus the stick equation to start putting out globalist propaganda because you were not getting promoted on their platforms. But you didn't do that. You didn't sell out like the average Daily Beast writer or even Wall Street Journal writer or others did that parrot the line. They're like, aren't you like us? I mean, we've been blocking you on Facebook and Twitter. Pages you built, pages you promoted. We've been not letting you talk to conservatives for years. We've been shadow banning you. And now you are not giving in. Well, we're just going to ban you outright. And they go, oh, 90 days on YouTube for the election, 30 days on Facebook. And they sit back and they act like, oh, will he do it again? Will he beat up a baby again? They don't show me beating the baby up.
How many babies does he beat up?
Telltale sign. They just say, well, and when they finally ban me completely, they'll go, he got warned a lot. And everybody's like, yeah, we saw it all over the news. We never saw what he said. We never saw what he did.
Then how did you get
I uploaded a video earlier, which we still have
it,
uploading rights to YouTube, saying the exact same thing. They banned it and said it was
Does he forget that
violating
people can
community
watch the
standards
videos he puts
for
up?
indecency.
Why does he put them up?
No cussing, no violence,
So
no
people
nothing.
won't watch
Just pointing out their shadow banning. But here's the good news. Just
Shadow
2 weeks ago,
banning.
they had a congressional hearing. He's calling for me to be shut down, lying about me. And clueless Republican troglodytes like Matt Gaetz went along with it. Then he found out he was shadow banned the next day. So the president's pointing out it's illegal. People are waking up, and all we've got to do is get the word out. Because let me tell you, that's the thing they're most scared of right now, is that people will actually learn the shadow bans are going on, the discrimination's going on. That's a form of Federal Elections Commission violation to let the left promote everything everywhere, but any Christian, any conservative, any patriot, any conservative congressman or woman, they can't speak. That's serious violation.
But who wants to listen
campaign
to
law. And that's what they've been doing for a long time. Yeah, Twitter's shadow banning prominent Republicans.
Look at this. Good. So this is how you get the
discriminatory and legal practice at once. Many complaints.
So guys, now you know what shadow banning is. And this will be, watch, it'll be all over the news tomorrow. And since Trump tweeted it, everyone will start using it. And here we go again, another conspiracy. But what happened with YouTube? He got banned for 90 days, right? Right, Alex? 90 days. Guys, around here we blame Judy. And she takes it. But guys, the next clip is going to show, we're going to show you Lou Dobbs from Fox News, and he's going to be with Pastor Jim Jeffries. And this is not funny. I'll tell you, the way they use freedom of religion, and they want to try to get freedom of religion intertwined with the hate that Alex Jones is preaching. And I want to tell you, I mean, this just goes to show you how sick Fox News is and how you can get a reverend who will virtually back up anybody. I mean, for this guy to come on and defend Alex Jones, is this something Jesus would do? Would Jesus say to somebody, yeah, point a gun at him and go after your enemies? Would he? But guys, I know you're not going to believe me. So what we'll do is we'll play the clip and you go, wow, Rich, I didn't believe it, but now I do. Judy, number 10, please.
Freedom of speech under
Freedom of
attack by
speech.
Facebook and YouTube. Radio host Alex Jones banned from Facebook for 30 days and from YouTube for 90. Both platforms taking down 4 videos. Facebook said Jones's videos, quote, encourage physical harm and, quote, attack someone based on religious affiliation or gender identity. Joining us tonight, Robert Jeffress, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Dallas, Fox Business contributor. His church celebrating its 150th anniversary this Sunday. Happy anniversary, and it's great to see you, Pastor.
Thank you. Thanks, Lou.
Let's talk about what's going on Twitter and Facebook with leaders who think that their politics should be the determinate values of their respective organizations, which are platforms for free speech, public discourse.
Well, it's very frightening, Lou, and very threatening. You know, the speech that needs the most protection is probably that speech that seems most hateful and disgusting to the majority of us. And the fact is, what is deemed as your opinion could be somebody else's definition of hate speech. And I think people of faith like myself ought to definitely be on guard against this, because there is an effort to suppress religious beliefs, religious speech, and I think, as somebody said, you know, the most important freedom is the first freedom, the freedom of speech and of religion.
He's the one that's under attack.
And I think that Second Amendment protects all of the other amendments and the Constitution itself. So it's hard to give, to me, it's hard to apportion weight amongst the Bill of Rights, the Constitution itself, because this constitutional republic requires all of those rights for its citizenry, and so many of them are being infringed upon. How do you react to Twitter? Jack Dempsey making the comment that he's going to stop whatever it is, hate speech, Facebook with another committee, and then their executives disappear when the public is watching the stock plummet because of their past practices that weren't even known. Think about this. This is a public company, and those practices with what they were doing with user data was basically unknown to the investing public.
Well, I think this really warrants investigation, Lou. And again, our whole foundation as a society is the freedom of expression. And, you know, if I could just turn this just a little bit to the whole issue that your producer sent me about this whole religious liberty idea and what the president is doing on that front. You know, about a year ago, he made a commitment at our religious freedom rally in Washington, D.C., and he said that he believed that religious liberty is not a gift from government, it is a gift from God. And now we see after a year, he is acting on that belief. You see what he's doing in helping Pastor Brunson in Turkey. And you see today that the State Department issued its own Potomac Declaration calling for religious liberty around the world. And this is why evangelicals love this. They don't care about Russia, they care about the Cohen tapes. They care about this pro-religious liberty, pro-freedom platform of this great president.
You know, I take all of that. The country itself has every reason to be supporting this president, irrespective of their religious views, and it's extraordinary to see the hate that is out there. And I think there is perhaps perhaps a greater role, a more energetic role in the public square for churches and all religious organizations in this country. And that is to assert their values in the public square, because this hate toward particularly this president is unprecedented. It is ugly. It is unlike anything we have ever, I think, in my reading of history, it's unlike anything we have ever seen in Washington, D.C.
It is, and it's being fueled by the Mueller probe, Lou. As long as the Mueller probe is allowed to question the legitimacy of this election, it's going to continue this hate and strife. And I think there's a time coming soon, perhaps the morning after the midterms, when an end needs to be put to this Mueller probe that is causing such division. They'll be held to pay for it, but we can hunker down and weather the storm.
I'd rather every minister, pastor, rabbi in this country say to their flocks, it's time to end this nonsense, because an attack on this constitutional republic means the end of religious freedom. It means the end of our Constitution. And this has got to be stopped. And we have feckless, cowardly leaders in the Republican Party on Capitol Hill who need to stand tall. This is not a time, it is not a time for weak spirits and weaker minds to be leading the nation.
Why don't you come preach for me this Sunday, Lou? That sounds like a good sermon.
Well, I know one thing. You'll be able to handle that without a problem. You don't need my assistance. I'm asking for yours in the public square. Was that a commitment?
Well, we'll do it.
All right.
Amen, Lou. Amen.
Amen, Pastor. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pastor Robert Jeffress, Virgin Galactic.
You know, I tell you, sometimes with these evangelicals, I mean, I just don't know. I can't figure them out. I can't see how on one hand you want to do the things that Jesus wants to do, and on the other hand you do the exact opposite. And then you use the Bible so that you can get away with anything. And I'll tell you, you guys ever want to have some fun, sit down and read the Bible. Let's see how far you get. Let's see how far you get. Like I said, you know, I went to Catholic school for 10 years. The one thing we never did was read the Bible. You read the Bible to a little kid, you scare the hell out of him. And think about it. Think about Lot with his daughters. Think about all the nonsense that's in there. And guys, the next clip we're going to show you that there is a little bit of hope for Fox, because Fox News even stood behind CNN and their pool reporter when Trump and Bill Stein, from another guy that left Fox to go work at the White House, when they barred the CNN reporter from a news conference. And guys, when you start barring reporters, we got problems. We got severe problems. So, Judy, let's see Fox stand with CNN. Clip number 11, please.
CNN says one of its reporters was stopped from covering the president's trade announcement late this afternoon in the Rose Garden, and CNN has just issued a statement. Quote, today CNN White House correspondent Caitlin Collins was denied access to cover an open press event at the White House after posing questions to President Trump earlier in the day. As the network pool reporter, Collins was told by White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications Bill Schein and Press Secretary Sarah Sanders that her questions were inappropriate. They were not. Just because the White House is uncomfortable with the question regarding the news of the day doesn't mean the question isn't relevant and shouldn't be asked. This decision to bar a member of the press is retaliatory in nature and not indicative of an open and free press. We demand better. As a member of the White House press pool, Fox stands firmly with CNN on this issue of access. So far, no response from the White House.
Uh-oh. There's trouble in paradise. Fox News is standing with CNN. Uncle Joey, what's going on? But guys, you know, you're going to have the loyalists on Fox News, and one of the loyalists is Tucker Carlson, one of Uncle Joey's favorites. And guys, you're going to watch Tucker try to defend Alex Jones, and it's just amazing what these people will do to try to protect themselves. And then we're going to show you one of them that went off the deep end. Oh, you'll get a kick out of that. But Judy, in the meantime, clip number 12, please.
Charlie Hurd is opinion editor at the Washington Times, and he joins us tonight. Charlie, great to see you.
Great to see you, Tucker.
So I couldn't help notice, so the big story in Washington today is that Caitlin Collins over at CNN was prevented from covering an event at the White House yesterday. And Caitlin worked for me for years. She's a fair and decent person, and I don't think she should have been prevented from covering anything. That's my position on that. So, but CNN has been basically a martyr for free speech for the last 24 hours. At the same time, they're telling us how important it is that people should be able to say what they think. They are agitating for Alex Jones to be pulled off YouTube. Now, I know we're supposed to think that Alex Jones is way more radical than like Bill Maher, Michelle Wolf, or Rosie O'Donnell, but he's got a point of view, and CNN is trying to squelch his point of view. What do you make of that?
Yeah, you know, I'm all in favor of CNN getting all the access that it wants to the White House. I want all reporters to get all the access that they want at the White House.
Me too.
But you're right. The hypocrisy is just astounding. And I guarantee you that if you flipped over to CNN right now, there would not be a single story about the Twitter shadow banning. There would not be a single story. And the only story you would see about YouTube pulling Alex Jones videos would be probably something celebratory about, you know, a scalp of sorts for managing to eventually get their way on that story. And you know, I look at all of the consternation about Donald Trump and this White House. But you know, my goodness, this has been going on for absolutely ever. You know how the White House press shop works. You know, at press conferences, the president always picks who he wants to ask him questions. Often the staffers go around and talk to the reporter beforehand. It's almost, as far as I'm concerned, it's the same as planting questions, because you're basically setting who it is that's going to ask you a question. So, you know, all of these concerns suddenly about access and free speech at the White House, come on. I mean, there's so many problems with the White House press corps to begin with. That you know, you never hear any of that. I've never heard this level of consternation before now.
I wish the left still defended free speech.
Yeah, no kidding.
Charlie Hurd, who does relentlessly defend free speech. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Tucker.
He wishes the left still defended free speech. Are you serious? What is it with these guys? I'm telling you. And what really bothers me is when they take advantage of the simple folk, like Ken Johnson. You know, guys, I'm telling you, he's a nice guy, but he's the reason why I think homeschooling should be illegal. No, really. I mean, the poor guy, he doesn't know if he's coming or going. But, you know, he knows one thing. He knows he's going to vote Republican. Come hell or high water, it doesn't matter. Well, look at this. We got a phone call. I've got to make sure I don't screw this up. Hello? Who's telling the truth?
Hey, just wait, Rich. Just be patient. It's all coming to a head.
Okay. And who's this?
A concerned citizen.
A concerned citizen. My favorite type.
Yep.
Do you have any ideas for future shows, or is there anything in particular that you would like to see us try to do in the future?
Stay on spot, my friend.
Stay on spot.
Don't take your eye off the ball.
Hey, I'm trying.
I know.
And I appreciate you calling in. And if you can do us a favor, if you got some friends or buddies, if you can pass the word around, you know, we'd appreciate it. And I thank you.
Oh, yeah, we always pass the word around to the people that have half of gray matter. That matters.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you calling. Thanks an awful lot.
I'm going to listen a little more, and then maybe I'll call back.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, keep it up.
All right, bye-bye. Well, I tell you, that's all it takes, guys. That's all it takes. You know, a little pat on the back. Hey, you know what? I don't even need a pat on the back. I'll go for a punch in the face. But, you know, as long as we're getting the word out, that's the important thing. You know, and especially when it comes to global warming, and it just comes to the ridiculous nonsense that Fox News refuses to, refuses to acknowledge. I mean, that's what drives me crazy. You know, when you look at a thermometer or you take a satellite reading and you deny it, we got problems. You know, it's just simple. We got problems. And guys, there are other people that have problems as well. And one of the biggest problems in the country is mental health. And, you know, Roseanne, she did a show years ago, and I got to be honest with you, I never watched it. I really didn't know who she was. And then she came back on and she did another show, and all I heard was Trump rant and rave about how, I think she got 18 million viewers or something, which is a phenomenal number. But he was saying how good she was and everything. And guys, less than 2 weeks later, she tweeted out some nonsense, and I want to tell you, she showed just how unstable she is. And you know how Trump said he's a stable genius? Well, I'm telling you, Roseanne is a stable idiot, but at least she'll, an unstable idiot, but at least she'll admit it. And she'll admit that she's got a problem. Will Trump ever admit he's got a problem? No. Will anybody that works around Trump, if they told Trump that he had a problem, that he got something wrong, what would Trump do? He'd fire him. But at least Roseanne had the Galaducci's to sit down with Sean Hannity and be honest and admit she had a problem. And guys, this is the first part of getting the country back in order. We have to admit that we have mental problems, and we have to admit that we need Medicare for all. We spend more money in this country than any other country on health care, and look at the amount of people that don't have it. So what are we doing wrong? We're letting the Republican Party run the government, and that's got to change, and that's going to change in November. But let's take a look at Roseanne. And guys, I don't want to put salt in the wound. I don't. But I want you to, at least she admitted she blew it. And when you listen to it, I'm telling you, she's really off the deep end. So, Judy, let's prove my point with clip number 13, please.
And your dad.
I want to say I have the best relationship with my mother today.
I understand.
We've done the work that needed to be done in my family, and I'm very proud of that. And we have nothing but love now. We want
Understood, but you know, having experienced multiple personality disorders,
well,
and
that
getting
was
over
a tough one.
Oh, I bet it was. Was that like having voices in your head?
No, it's nothing like having voices. That's schizophrenia.
Okay, what do I know? I'm not an expert. or at times different personalities.
It's waking up and not knowing where you are, how you got there. It's loss of time. It's like, wow, you know.
Just disappeared. Like you would, and you were another person and didn't know it.
No memory of any of it.
And people would tell you.
But like when I had multiple, you know, it's called dissociative identity disorder now. I had something like 4 prescriptions for glasses. Oh. But I did wake up and find myself in unsafe places and didn't know why I put myself there. And that's just terrifying. And, you know, I no longer do that. But, you know, my whole life I spent it like that. One time I woke up in a truck in New York City.
I don't think there's one viewer, Roseanne, honestly, that doesn't have a family member, a friend, a neighbor. You know,
with mental health issues?
Oh, seriously, I think everybody watching knows somebody. And when I hear it, it's what you just described to me, Sean, it's scary.
It was scary, Sean. I told ABC, I don't feel that I am in a good mentally balanced place because I've been working like something like just way many weeks.
Leading up to this.
Yeah, and going on promotion, crossing from Hawaii to New York, and I became Ambien dependent. And a lot of people have problems with Ambien. They're not going to joke that away. but I'm one of them. And, you know, I'd find a house full of Triscuits, pound of cheese, you know,
You wouldn't remember when you woke up?
Well, I'd see it in the kitchen.
But you wouldn't remember it. You'd see it and you say, I must have eaten this during the night.
Yeah. Eggs cracked on the wall. Crazy. Trying to make brownies.
And not remember it.
No, till the morning. But this is like, you know,
scary.
Ambien does that to people.
Let me ask last question.
No, I wanted to finish
keep
a
going?
whole other thing.
Oh, you want to do another hour?
Oh, dang, now I forgot. I'm sorry.
Last question.
I start going.
Now, what's next?
Oh, I told ABC,
Oh, okay.
you guys, I'll go and get my meds checked.
You knew you were going to a dark place.
I knew I wasn't keeping up because I had this a whole other subject, but you know, I don't absorb vitamins, and I found out that I was really depleted, and that affects your mental health.
You think you were doing way too much and not getting the time that you need?
No, because I'm supposed to go to the hospital every 8 weeks and get infusions because I don't absorb iron and
you hadn't done.
vitamins. And I just kept saying, I wanted that show. I wanted a second season so bad that I worked myself, you know, almost to the end.
Tell me what's next for you.
Porn.
Guys, you know, yeah, I feel for her. I mean, I can almost, you know, when she was talking, I heard her say, you know, ambient dependent. And at first I thought it was a joke, but then I remembered, you know, there was a senator or a congressman, more or less the same thing happened to him. And he didn't even know where he was. And I'm saying, you know, at first I thought it was just a different drug, but maybe this ambient stuff, maybe there's more to it than I initially thought. You know, I just thought it might be an excuse in the beginning. But maybe this stuff is, I don't know. You know, you watch some of these commercials for the drugs, and they say you may commit suicide, you may do this, you may, and I'm going, wait a minute. You want me to take this drug when I may commit suicide? Why do I want to do that? But guys, just listen to the drug commercials and listen to the caution things, and you'll go, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to take this. But guys, the next clip, we're going to go back to one of the short clips we played in the beginning, which was between Chris Wallace and Giuliani. And guys, I don't know. I asked Uncle Joey today, I said, Joey, what's going on with Giuliani? Something ain't right. I mean, between him and Trump, they could start their own funny farm. I mean, I tell you. And today people on all the networks and Fox News, they were looking at each other going, wait a minute, what is he talking about? I'm telling you, it's getting scary. But guys, let's go back to the beginning, and we'll show you Chris Wallace with Giuliani, and you let me know if you think he's wrapped tightly. All right, Judy, 14, please.
I want to start with Michael Cohen, Mr. Trump's former lawyer, his former fixer. Here's what you said about Cohen a couple of months ago and the possibility that he might talk to Special Counsel Robert Mueller.
Flip-flops on this.
I expect that he is going to cooperate with him. I don't think they'll be happy with it because he doesn't have any incriminating evidence about the president or himself. The man is an honest, honorable lawyer.
He's an honest,
honorable lawyer, but now you say Cohen is, quote, your words, a pathological liar, pathological lawyer, a Freudian slip, a pathological liar who's been lying for years. So what happened?
What happened? I mean, I found out, as everyone else did, that he was surreptitiously recording his clients, which is a disbarable offense. Obviously, I knew that. I would never have said he was a reputable lawyer. I'd have said he was a scoundrel. I found out he not only taped lawyers, but he totally intended to deceive because he had a conversation with one of your colleagues, Chris Cuomo, in which he made a big show of putting his phone in a drawer, Cuomo's phone in a drawer, and said, we'll be off the record, no recording. He then proceeded to record 2 hours of that conversation. Makes him a total liar. I didn't know that. And now I've listened, unfortunately, fortunately from my client's point of view, to many, many hours of tapes. And the man is a pathological manipulator, liar. I didn't know that. I didn't know him well, but I knew nothing bad about Michael Cohen until all of this started to happen in the last couple of weeks.
Mayor, how angry is President Trump about being betrayed by a man that he worked so closely with? And what does it mean, this talk now that their joint defense agreement is over? What's the practical effect of that?
Well, first of all, the president feels disappointed. I think the anger is over. We've assured him in a very strange way this is a very good development for us because we do have all these tapes, and these tapes are completely demonstrate the president did nothing wrong. Cohen is on record over and over again stating his position. It'd be hard for him to contradict that now. And he's done so many despicable things, his credibility is not an issue. The joint defense agreement is in effect over because he's making it clear that he's going to try to hurt the president. We can't give him information, and he obviously isn't going to give us information.
Okay, we're going to try to squeeze these last two clips in real quick. And guys, this is that collusion isn't a crime, but conspiracy is. So Judy, let's have 15, please.
And now the allegations that Michael Cohen is putting out there saying, look, Donald Trump, our president, then candidate, knew in advance about this meeting.
Right.
Both Cohen and Donald Trump Jr. have testified before your committee. I know you can't confirm or deny.
You know I can't. You know
I know
I won't
you've done it
as
a
well.
million and one times. You told me you can't. But what are your thoughts on this?
So I think the walls are closing in. I said that to you.
Walls
I think
are closing in.
So.
You
and
got
this
it.
is yet another proof positive that the investigation is closer in many regards. The fact of the matter is that this is Donald Trump's worst nightmare because it's not just this revelation or this allegation because it's yet to be corroborated, but it's the fact that there are 99 additional tapes into the
We got 1 minute to go.
This week.
Okay, Rich.
So
here you go.
I think what is of
Anybody
material
involved
significance here, though, Alex, is that we've moved
is a
from
Benedict Arnold, and you know what a Benedict Arnold is, right?
You got it. Okay.
Anybody that is caught doing such a crime, stripped of citizenship,
Okay.
all wealth,
Well, okay.
and give them to Russia. And you know what Russia? You know what Russia would say?
Thank you.
They don't serve our purpose anymore. Why do we want them? Thank you. Goodbye.
I want to tell you, Kurt, our sound man, has come up with the idea that the big problem is this little Russian spy, this little 29-year-old Russian spy, got involved with the NRA and got the Russian oligarchs to give money to the NRA, which is where the NRA got the $30 million. The $30 million to finance the Trump campaign. So, Judy, how much time do we have left? Say goodnight, Rich, but I don't see any credits. But, guys, if you're Jones'ing out, don't worry about it.